Hello and welcome to Boosting You, that ultimate wellness platform that boosts you with little things that you can do every day with Dr. Sue Peacock.
And Shirley McLean. And today, our little boost is all going to be about goal setting. So, from that vision to action, because after all, a goal without a plan is just a dream. And an interesting thing I was going to share first of all with you is I did an exercise in 2002 in my journal with a happy face. And to start off, what I did first of all, it was Jim Rohn. I got this from as well. He can take full credit for this. And what we do first of all is we do an exercise where we write down 5 successful things that we've accomplished, that we've, been really, really proud of. And it can be something big and it can be something small. It doesn't make any difference because what we're doing here, we're going to write it down and we're getting those neural connections and we're just getting all of our creativity and all of those juices flowing. So what we're going to do is we're just going to write 5 things down, first of all, of just successes that we've achieved, that we're really proud that we've achieved, just as reminders. And then after that, it's a wonderful exercise, this. Then after that, it's writing down, it's about dreaming big. So it's about magic wand thinking on long range goals. So we write 50 different little bits then. Not about what you could earn or what, it's about what you really want to do. So we start writing 50 things down. Yeah. Could you do that, Sue?
No, not at this present moment, but hey, if I once I've listened to you, maybe so.
So the thing is, sometimes we think, I don't have 50 things, I don't have 50 goals. Where am I going to pull them out from? So the thing to do, because we've already got the juices flowing, because we've done the first exercise, what we do is we write these, as I did in my journal, one after another, started writing them down. Then what we do is it could be little things, it could be huge things. It doesn't make any difference at this point because we're not going to get overwhelmed. We're just going to have fun. That's what we're going to do. So we write them down, and it can be something like, what do you want to do next year? What do you want to do now? What would you like to share? Or what health goals have you got? What investments would you like to make? What do you want to do with your kids? What experiences do you want? What changes would you like to make? People that you'd like to meet, projects that you'd like to do. And even you could kind of like close your eyes because we both know the power of visualization. So we could even close our eyes to plant those seeds in your imagination. So that's the second little exercise to do. And then moving on from there, what we do is we write at the side of each of them a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 10. And this is where it starts getting interesting. And this captures in either year 1 that you're going to achieve it, year 3, year 5, or year 10. And the magic about this is when you've done it, when you've done the exercise, you'll probably notice that there's the same amount in number 1, in number 3, in number 5, and number 10. I couldn't believe it when I did it because it was pretty balanced really. And then what you can do is choose 4 from each time frame, see them clearly in your mind's eye, do that little visualizing exercise, which we can always do that in a little boost again. We can go through it and then write a little detailed description of what you see from each one. So that's if before we start even writing our goals, it's good to sort of like clear the decks and kind of like engage the brain with our goal setting before we even do that. So I think to do that first of all is a really good thing, just to embed in that mind of where we're going and what our intention is going to be. Because before, in our last little boost, we were said about Sue was mentioning about New Year's resolutions and give you lots of different tips about New Year's resolutions and why they don't work. So by doing this exercise first, and then what we can do is we can understand where we want to go, what goals we want to do, and make those tiny little changes. And to make those effective, because sometimes we set unrealistic goals, they're too vague, or we rely on willpower alone, which, you know what, with all the best will in the world, that's really not going to work. We need to set a good goal as well, and we have to have a plan. We have to have an accountability. You know, sometimes it can be all or nothing as well, which is a big mistake as well. So, by learning the lessons from the past, of our past failed resolutions, but there's no such thing as failure, only learning, it's a good idea to go back on what we do want. And maybe, Sue, you know, the smart way to achieve goals. So maybe would you like to walk us through that process of how to achieve them?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. I like your idea very much of visualizing your goals so you can see sort of where you're aiming for at the end, and you know you can see the outcome, because that kind of really enhances it, doesn't it, and makes it more meaningful and powerful for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, you know, a lot of people set quite vague goals. So, for example, you know, when we're talking about self-care, you know, a lot of people like to, you know, we've talked about, you know, taking time for yourself and that kind of thing. And in that period of time, some people perhaps like to read, and, you know, their vague goal is, I'd like to read more, you know, and well, that's great, but how are you going to know when you achieve that? So I think this, you know, the smart goal strategy seems to work quite well. So the S is obviously for specific. So that's, you know, what you're going to do. So how, you know, I will read a chapter each day, for example. And then we know how we're going to measure that we're going to do that. Well, you've read the chapter, so that's quite an easy one to do. You know, is it achievable? You know, looking at the A, achievable. Is it achievable? How are you going to achieve this? What, you know, set those little cogs in motion. How are you going to achieve this? Is it realistic for you at this time? Which is the R. How are you going to fit it into your day? And then that again leads on to T, which is the time scale, which is, you know, when actually are you going to do it? So perhaps your goal would be something like, um, my goal is to read a chapter of my book each day, and I'm going to read it at 6 o'clock in the evening for 10 minutes,
Mm.
or till I've read the end of the chapter. And then you're more likely to achieve it because you've actually got it down. And as we were talking earlier before we come on onto our little video, you know, there is that research by the Harvard Medical School, wasn't it, that, or the
Mm.
university, that those people who wrote down their goals were more likely to achieve their goals. So perhaps writing these goals down would be a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important as well. Well, that in that study, they found it lasted a long time. And at the end of it, it was definitely, if you'd not wrote them down, they weren't even, you know, definitely, it was the achievers that had actually put pen to paper and again wrote that down again, or tap on your computer. Sometimes I think there is a benefit sometimes in just picking a pen up and absolutely writing it down sometimes, because again, these neural connections, we're connecting with that body and mind and engaging all our senses as well by doing that. And I think it's really important as well with goals that it's aligning with our values as well,
Yes.
because I think that's really important as well. Because if there's something that we're trying to aim for and it's kind of not aligning with who we are, what we want anyway, then it's not going to work out anyway, is it?
We've got to have meaningful goals, haven't we, that mean something to us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think when we talked last time, I think it's easier to understand a little bit about that science of, you know, how we form a habit. We know with what the work that we do and the behavior changes. And like I mentioned last time about those that BJ Fogg, tiny little habits, that little habit loop, and why, you know, the systems and the motivation that can fluctuate, you know, but why systems matter more than goals sometimes. Because sometimes by those tiny little habits and by stacking, instead of having a big goal, you know, it's small little habits which you can commit to, you know, and even the times that we do these is really important, because sometimes, you know, he says about when I've done X amount, like that it's an existing habit. I think one of them he uses flushing the toilet. So after I flush the toilet, I do this, because what it is it's it's doing a habit after you've already got done something, some habit that you already do, which makes your mind easier to remember it. Because we know that our mind wakes up the next day like a comfy pair of slippers and wants to do and feel exactly as it did the day before. So it's absolutely when we do these habits, or even like bedtime, you mentioned reading a book at bedtime, or certain times in the day at lunchtime, if you're at work or if you work from home, a little pocket of time that you can add to something that you already do, you know.
Good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even when you're having a cup of coffee, when you might be just there you're reading a couple of pages. Then there's always times, but sometimes we don't look for all the opportunities. We think we've not got the time, we've not got whatever, but sometimes we do. It's just being a little bit smarter about when we're doing it.
sometimes it's about writing it down. I write in my diary that I'm going running, because then I will go running. If I don't write it in my diary, I don't always go. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And even reminders on your phone, and we've got so many resources, and that's everybody is resourceful. Sometimes we don't even realize how resourceful we are. Maybe it might be nice in our next little boost if we explained a little bit about routines, about how the mind works, that we can help just put these little routines into our day to enable us to be successful with our goals. That might be an idea.
sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really, I hope you gained a few little insights into dreaming big and then bringing down your goal and how to be really specific about your goal. Use that SMART process that Sue's mentioned as well, and then use the tiny little habits that are going to get you to achieve your success, which if you join us for the next one, we'll actually walk you through a few little routines so that you can boost your success to achieve your goals. All
And
right
don't
then.
need to share your goals with us, and your successes, and if it's not going to plan, give us a shout and we can see if we can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're always here to help. Yeah. All right then. So thanks for listening and bye for now.
See you next time.